Welcome back to Big Bark Sports. Drew Baressa.
Ronnell Eubanks.
And, we've kind of talked about our past and our history already and all this and our stuff with schools. And we got another school to talk about today. So, Ronnell, why don't you tell us who our guest is today?
So today's guest is a little brother of mine, little big brother, I guess, a real dear friend that I've been knowing, ever since I was 14, 15 years old. And I crept through the bushes of his backyard to go play basketball.
So there's going to be some stories here.
There's going to be some stories here. So like everybody, introduce everybody to Willie Jude Jr. He is the Vice Chancellor at UW-Parkside, is one of his titles. I know he has many titles. He is a very driven and energetic young man that brings a lot of joy and happiness to people when he meets them. I'm very proud of him. Love him dearly, and he's a close friend of mine. So Willie, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Ronnell, Drew, for having
Speechless. Or our internet froze.
Our internet froze.
Are we good now?
Yep,
we are good now.
There we go.
So thank you, Ronnell. Thank you, Drew, Big Bark Media, for allowing me to join you. As I'm gonna call you Nell, so it's hard to say Ronnell. We've known each other for so long. As Nell said, we met literally. He came through the bushes, and while we were playing basketball, and literally changed my whole perception of basketball. That's how good he was. But more importantly, he has been, one of the most consistent, dependable people that you will ever meet. Beyond my friend, loyal, family-oriented, and, Nell was such a good person that he was the only one I can go with, and my parents wouldn't ask questions. They said, "Are you with Nell? Okay, then you're all right. You're all right." But besides that, as a team, because he's been that responsible, and, he's a protector, but, really amazing person, very talented. So, yes, Drew, we have lots of stories, and we probably have to have, a whole nother segment just to give you, so I can give you some fun Ronnell Eubanks stories.
All right, so I'm gonna ask one right away. So, knowing that you had a built-in alibi in Nell, did you ever go out and do some things you shouldn't have been doing and be like, "Mom, I was with Nell"?
Well, actually, no, I didn't, because I wanted to do it again. Right. It's one of those, when you build that trust, I like to, go out and stuff at that age. So I just wanted to make sure he didn't get in trouble. I didn't want to get in trouble. And our parents still live about 6-7 blocks away from each other in Sherman Park neighborhood of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So yeah, between his mom and my dad and my mom and dad, we didn't want to try them. So we didn't push our luck too much.
No, not at all. No.
Well, then the other question I gotta say is, were those actually bushes or like a forest of trees? If he's sneaking through them, and you didn't see him coming.
Oh,
I'm sorry, there ain't many bushes that are containing this man.
and literally, there's like some hedges in between the houses, in the city, and right in the city of Milwaukee. Houses are fairly close together, and we had a basketball court up in our backyard. And so, we wanted to play with anybody and everyone. And so we met a friend, Shaheed Davis, who moved in and lived directly behind me and kind of, challenged me. I was used to being the best around. And then all of a sudden, one person comes through my bushes who's really good and have had to change my entire game. And then he brings another person. And Nell wasn't even that tall. Nell grew. When I met Nell, he was about 5'11". And now he's 6'3", right? But the fluid and the athleticism and the strength, it's not like, I haven't seen a whole lot of that. And I've literally worked from coast to coast. And so we became friends through basketball and football, and athletics is what bonded us, but we got even closer, through high school, through when he graduated from college. I was there when he moved in. When he went to Loras College, Dubuque, Iowa, to play football, I was with him when he moved in. And then when we transferred all to UW-Oshkosh, we were together again. We were roommates. We graduated together. We lived, we've done a lot, won a lot of intramural basketball games together. But it's been a joy just to, be there with him as he's gotten married. I was there when he met his wife. There's so many stories, but it's just seamless. It seemed like the time goes so fast. And so it's just great to have good people. I've lived everywhere in the country, right? And it's hard to find people who have lifelong friends, who have a core that they know have their backs unconditionally. And so I'm just blessed to have, my friends and my family. They're more like family now. It's hard to really call them friends. It's more like a big brother.
Right.
And we also broke a couch wrestling, so you can keep that. We got in trouble for that one. Yes, I did try. I tried. I was the smallest one out of my group, Drew. So you know how it is. You know, in my mind, I'm 6'4", 6'5", but they tell me I'm 5'10", but it's debatable. I think I'm working on my posture.
Yeah, he's all of 5'9.5". Just so you know.
So am I. So anyone who you're trying to fight a bigger guy, you just got to outsmart him. So you trying to tell me that you outsmarted Down?
No.
Yeah.
He's always taking it easy on me.
Apparently, out of the two of you fighting, the real loser was the couch.
Basically.
The couch.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Willie is extremely fast. You know, growing up in Milwaukee, we didn't have the specialized training that kids have now. So for them, you know, he ran track like AAU style track, like Striders it was called, right?
Yeah, the Striders changed my whole life. Yes, Milwaukee Striders.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he would encourage me to chase him, basically for me to get faster, right? It was either I was chasing him or he was chasing me, right? Of course, we lived in, you know, the inner city of Milwaukee, so we had a lot of running to do, you know, for other reasons too. But you know, it was more of, okay, Nell, you need to get faster. Let's get some workouts, and we pushed each other, right? Because we wanted to be great at what we did and what we do, so we pushed each other to be the best that we could be.
So Willie, if you know, kind of tell me more about this Striders, because like everyone hears about the AAU, like basketball and volleyball and stuff like that now. I've never heard of like a track and field like travel team or club team like that. So go into detail of what your experiences there were.
And so, yes, the Milwaukee Striders, there are a few organizations in Milwaukee, but the Striders was who I was affiliated with. And I honestly didn't really start working with them till closer to right before I was graduating and going to college. One of our other good friends, Earl Melvin Grizzly, you know, was a part of the Striders, and they really became like an all-star team of people from the city and beyond, right? From Germantown, city of Milwaukee. And you would spend all summer really getting more specialized training on literally how to run fast. My first practice was a culture shock, right? You know, I've never been the fastest person, right? But I've always been in the finals. I've never been the slowest, right? But first practice, they tell us we're running like 4 150s and we're supposed to stride, right? Stride. Because I asked those people like Earl Grisby, you know, some other stars that have come through, like the Michael Bennett of the world, Trinell. I said, okay, so, you know, is this like 50%? You know, what is it? He was like, oh, just stride. I was like, okay, cool. And so we ran in a straight line. And so I'm running and I'm coming off of the turn, right? The last, you know, 100 meters. And then all of a sudden I feel somebody runs past me, then somebody runs past me again, then. And so I'm starting to run. And then I got to the finish line. I turned around. I said, I thought you told me we were striding. He said, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. When we say stride, we mean run your behind off. I know I don't want to be first. And so it literally, you know, when you're able to be around great competition, and in the summer, you know, we're challenged in the city of Milwaukee and in the state of Wisconsin because of the weather. So when you're in states like Florida, California, Texas, Louisiana, they can train year round. So there are some competitive advantages. So when we're waiting for May, June, July to receive that training, right? That's when we really get to peak. And so it's interesting when you were able to make it to some of the regional meets and national meets, and they realize, wow, they got that many fast people in Wisconsin. I thought all it does is snow up there. I said, no, we have a lot of stars, but it's those individuals like, you know, Big Joe, who would take his time and volunteer and make sure that we had access to great coaches, but then have that exposure on a national level, which helps us compete, right? There's so many things that athletics can do for you. You build lifelong relationships. We have an ability to travel. You learn about adversity, how to deal with adversity. You learn cultural intelligence, emotional intelligence. There's so many things. And so knowing that this program existed and others have come from that, such as there used to be the Spartans, or Congress Cougars, or a few of those activities. So that was really influential in my life, and you keep in contact with those individuals, because honestly, outside of the school, I didn't play football till my freshman year in high school. I never played organized. And so to have an opportunity to be a part of an external team, like, as you mentioned, an AAU type of team, was an amazing experience.
It's something as a coach that we always tell people when we got like fast kids, like we encourage them being like, hey, listen, you can't teach speed. You always say that term, you can't teach speed, but you can make someone faster, right? So it's more like, are you kind of like, when that kind of comes up, it's more like you're teaching proper techniques to use that's the stride that's inside you already.
And I agree with that. There's one thing that I learned in a different life when I was a coach. I was at a conference and someone said, it might have been one of Al Vermeil, the brother of Dick Vermeil. He was a strength coach and longtime strength coach, and during the time with the Bulls on their run in the 90s. But he said the number one job of the strength and conditioning coach is to not mess them up. So sometimes you try to do so many things to make someone faster, create all of these things. Let's go at it we look at it from a deficit approach, right? And so whether I take the same approach as I'm building teams professionally, but when I'm looking at an athlete, I go from an asset approach. How many of us get hired or recruited for things that we don't do well? No one. So we're going to highlight what you do well. And then I may give you one or two things that can help you out so you're not thinking about it, right? Because the more you're thinking about it, you're not playing to your maximum potential. So yes, it really depends on the individual. And there's, a series of drills and evaluations that you can do. Now you have so much film capabilities that you can go on Huddle, YouTube, Big Bark Media. Like, you can do so many things and see what's happening. Then it's easier to train and really, take time and just play within your skill set and work within your technique. Because I used to think there has to be one perfect technique. But if you watch, Olympics, high school, there's so many different techniques, but it's all about getting from point A to point B faster than the other person.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about, your background, right, in terms of sports, right? So, you went to University of Minnesota, transferred, and we were at UW-Oshkosh. We played football. You ran track there. You want to just kind of, tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. And so in high school, I graduated from Madison High School in Milwaukee Public School System, James Madison High School. And so there I was a 4-sport athlete. I played football, lettered in football. I lettered in track and field. I lettered in basketball, and then also lettered in tennis, right? And so I was fortunate to be exposed to so many different types of sports. I come from a family of athletes. My father was one of the first Black scholarship athletes at Delta State University in track and field. My mom played a myriad of sports growing up. My sister was a tennis student athlete at the University of Pittsburgh. My youngest brother was, held the record at UW-Oshkosh when I recruited him there and has a national championship. So, athletics has been a big part of my life. We've just been exposed to everything. And so I love playing basketball, but the sport that I excelled in the most was football. And so I had quite a few offers, right? Most people thought I was going to quit. A lot of people told me I was too little because I was about 150 pounds, maybe, right? And all my friends look like Nell. For the most, a lot of my friends are Nell size, and so everybody say, "Oh, you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that." So I've always had this chip on my shoulder with individuals telling me what you can't do, and so football was that big piece. And so I had was fortunate to have some success and a lot of learning curves. My junior year, I set the school rushing record, was averaging about 16 yards a carry. And then I had a blood clot and had to have surgery that took me out for the rest of football season. It was on my 16th birthday, actually, on football season and basketball season. So it took me a while to recover from that. So obviously a lot of the recruiting halted. And so, I had to just prove to myself that I could come back from this. And so I was fortunate, the University of Minnesota, Go Gophers, was fortunate to give me an opportunity to compete at the highest level. And so I was there, and I was a recruited walk-on. So I don't act like I was a scholarship player and have a lot of friends, but it really proved to me going through programs like the Striders that I was just as athletic as any of the individuals. And so the thing that I struggled with, right, is funny because I was, really strong student, academically. I struggled with learning football. That was the hardest part at the University of Minnesota. So when you say draw it up on the board, and, I was just a fan, we're drawing up boards and you see, Charles Woodson on the film when he was at Michigan, you're seeing Ron Dane, you're seeing, Allstott, these people that like idolizing. And then also, oh, shoot, we're going to be playing these individuals, right? How do you draw it up? I struggled. High school, I knew give Willie the ball, but I didn't know really much about schemes or anything like that. So I panicked, right? I panicked and ended up transferring. Had a few options, and so was able to have Ronell, myself, a man named Greg McKinstry, Quincy LeGrant. We all decided to transfer to the University of Wisconsin Oshkosh and play football with one of our friends and my other bodyguard from high school, Richard Lewandowski, who was playing defensive line. And so there, I had the opportunity to play on both sides of the ball. I didn't say I was good enough to do any one thing. I just wanted to play. I wanted to contribute. So I played, in college, between Minnesota and UW-Oshkosh, I played 2 years of receiver, 2 years at cornerback as well. And then in addition to that, I ran track for the Titans and was able to be a two-time national qualifier in the 4x1. And I was also all conference in the 4x1 and the open 100 and academic all conference as well. And so it really gave me an opportunity to meet more people and just fulfill my passion. Everybody has that dream to go to the NFL. And I did not realize it, but I do not regret my journey because I really had to take time and learn about me, but still have some success and meet some amazing, not only friends and student athletes, but coaches on the way. So yeah, the experience was great. A lot of work, you just learn how to battle. Some of my greatest life's lessons come from athletics. Number one, keep your head on the swivel. That's one of the best lessons I've ever learned. And two, keep showing up because you never know. The game is not given to anyone. You have to show up and do what you're supposed to do. And depending on if you're prepared, the outcome could be in your favor. And three, never stay down. Football is the most humbling sport. I've seen some of the, most toughest people in the world get knocked out and get right back up and show how tough they really are. And then also witness Ronell pancake quite a few people. And so I was happy that he was my friend. Yeah.
So, we lived together, we grew up together. We ran from bad incidents in Milwaukee together. As you graduated and went through, the process at Oshkosh with all the sports and the high academics, it pushed you in your family background, it pushed you into higher education. You want to just kind of, give us a brief about your journey through, where you started to where you're at right now?
Sure. And as you mentioned, I'm a son of an educator. My dad, Willie Jude is, retired as deputy superintendent of Milwaukee Public Schools. And so, education was pushed in my household, and I'm very fortunate. My mom would force me, and I say force because it was force me to participate in a book club every summer. That I was reading like 50 to 80 books every summer. Did not have didn't want to do it. I wanted to be outside playing. But obviously that's why parents are parents, right? They have wisdom, and I didn't realize the seeds that were being planted for all the work that we do today. And so when I went on, after I graduated from University of Wisconsin Oshkosh, I majored in exercise science, minored in business. I knew I needed a degree. My grandparents did not have an opportunity to have an education, worked on plantations, sharecropping. So I felt it was my duty to earn another degree from my grandparents. And so I went on to Washington State University, go Cougs, lifetime member Alumni Association. But anyways, went on to Washington State to pursue my master's in higher education with no idea what I wanted to do. I just I knew I had a spirit to serve. I knew I wanted to help individuals. I wasn't quite sure. I didn't have this burning desire of what I wanted to do. So I love college so much that I've always been on a college campus. I never left. And so my career has been an interesting career, if you were to look at my resume, because I've coached football, I've coached track and field, I've been a strength and conditioning coach, I've worked with pro athletes from NFL, Major League Baseball, an Olympian. I've had a chance to transition into fundraising from coaching at Washington State University. Jim Sturr took a chance on me when he didn't have to, and then had the chance to meet people at conferences. I moved from the state of Washington to North Carolina North Carolina Central University under the leadership of Dr. Ingrid Wicker McCree, where I, was a part of the transition from a Division II to Division I program with football. And I had a chance to lead my own fundraising shop and be the executive director of an athletics foundation. I thought I was going to be living in North Carolina. I bought a home, I was sold. And then Dr. Kevin Rome gave me an opportunity that literally changed my career and changed the trajectory of my career. I was able to become the executive director of philanthropy and the executive director of the Lincoln University Foundation in Jefferson City, Missouri, where I was over all fundraising efforts. I also oversaw marketing, communications, creative services, also government relations, community relations, and anything else the president wanted to get done, and also oversaw athletics as well. And from that point, I had a chance to move on and literally get out of fundraising, get out of athletics, and started into student affairs. And so I was a vice president for student affairs and enrollment management at Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee, where all of the student services, everything from international programs to the mailroom, campus safety, Title IX, and athletics there as well, which was an NAIA school. So yes, all of those roles lead to coming back home. I've lived home pretty much my entire adult life. And so being able to come back and serve at the University of Wisconsin-Parkside as the Vice Chancellor for University Advancement and Alumni Relations is pretty surreal, right? For a young man graduating from UW-Oshkosh, wanted to, be an athlete, didn't have a clue what he wanted to do, but knows that education is the most powerful weapon that you can use to change the world, which is a quote from Nelson Mandela. I wanted to use education as my opportunity to serve and give back, and just give people opportunities and have that exposure and have those experiences that can not only change their life, but change their communities, the world, and just the people they love. So higher ed has been amazing here, and I'm grateful for Dr. Debbie Ford, who gave me my opportunity to come back home, be close to family, and really impact the state of Wisconsin. I've been serving the other states, Washington, Missouri, Tennessee, North Carolina, but now I get to come back and continue to go into our community, right? Into the north side of Milwaukee, here in Kenosha, Racine, and just give everyone an opportunity who wants to have an education, that opportunity. Because when you have it and when you're exposed, you get to meet so many people from so many cultures and really, just grow your mind, expand your mind, broaden your mind. And that's why I'm in education. But none of that would have been possible without athletics. Athletics is the one that has walked me in so many rooms and given me opportunities. And I had to really embrace that, because often, when you're moving through higher education, I didn't want to seem like, I was bragging or how would people feel because I was an athlete. And once I really realized to start embracing that, because that's who I am, and really step into that power and look at it, as I mentioned earlier, from an asset mindset, it's helped me out quite a bit, because athletics is a microcosm of society, but it brings together all walks of life. So higher ed has been amazing.
So Willie, I just, so you know, having heard your story, my resume fits in like the headline of your resume. And that's about where I'm at. So that was an amazing story. And I was like going to touch on what you just did at the end. How many avenues are opened up because of sports and because of athletics? And, and that's something we always talk about is opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Think about it with athletics, what you're doing right now, right? Although you work with all media, athletics has every job you want. If you look at professional athletics, it's really it's a business. Right? It's a business mindset. You're dealing with extreme budgets. You're dealing with personnel. You have HR, you have marketing, you have on-field coaching, you have game operations. There's so many different professions that just go to support one team, right? And so if you look at college athletics, you have a director of athletics, but you have fundraisers, you have HR teams, you have compliance, right? So you have individuals working with law degrees, marketing degrees. There's an educational component from academic success, right? There's everything that you could possibly want there. And so I'm definitely a fan of athletics, and I really like the cohesion that it can build, right? And because they really have a family atmosphere and really support each other. And I think that's something that's great when you can mirror that on the university side. But yeah, athletics, honestly, the conversation that you have and the people that I've met, is just like, wow, it was kind of surreal. I wish I really was more of a fan earlier, early on, I wish I would have been getting more autographs for some of the people, that I met and took the time, because it's opening up doors. But, I'll use one story when I was fortunate to attend the NBA draft, which is still probably one of my top 5 best experiences ever. And, that's when, Commissioner Stern and Adam Silver was the deputy. And so just being able to meet everyone there. And, I met people like, Joakim Noah, I met Kevin Durant, Al Horford. I was there supporting Nick Young, who's a family member, right? And so it was just like, wow. Then I saw Sean Respert. I was like, Sean Respert, you're Sean Respert. Felipe Lopez, if you know some of these names, Spencer Hawes, I got a chance to talk trash to him in the barbershop, because he went to university or that other school, that purple school in Washington. I won't even say their full name. It's all about the Cougs, right? But just the experiences and just learning that there's a whole academic side that is there at the NBA Association. There's a philanthropic side. Like, you just learn so many things about organizations, but athletics brings us together, right? And if you just, pay attention, there's a lot of opportunities in the field that can actually have transferable skills into other industries.
And you said, if you know those guys, you tell me I don't know half of Fire and Ice. You don't tell me Eric Snow and Sean Respert at Michigan State. Felipe Lopez at St. John's. Come on now.
Hey, I'm telling you, I was like, wow, like, you're really right here. Like, I was a little bit of a fan for a few minutes. I was trying to be stoic, like I've done this before. I wish I wouldn't have. Because when am I going to ever meet them again, right?
Right. Another name. Were you in charge of hiring Kenny Anderson at Fisk?
Oh, yes. That was I was part of the team that brought Kenny Anderson as the head basketball coach to Fisk University. And so he's one of the most down-to-earth people that you would ever meet. You can call him right now. He's going to pick up the phone. He's really big into family, big into loyalty. And honestly, for all of the success he had, and, he was legendary when we were growing up. We were all trying to dribble like Kenny Anderson. Mm-hmm. And he never even talks about it. I have to pull stories out. I said, this is for my fandom, Kenny. Help me out. I just want to say that I know you. He's introduced me to like Dennis Scott, D3. I was like, wow, I get a chance to meet these individuals. But yeah, so Kenny Anderson was awesome. And I think it's really good to see the Kenny Andersons of the world. And you see like a Deion Sanders at Jackson State. And you see more of the former athletes, Eddie George at Tennessee State. You see these former athletes getting opportunities to work, even if it's, regardless of the schools, because they need to coach and they have a lot to offer. So I'm always excited when they get those opportunities, because sometimes it's not necessarily a direct, just because you were a great athlete means you get the opportunity to coach. There are a lot of dynamics that happen, which are far beyond my pay grade, right? But it's good to see him. But Kenny Anderson, shout out Kenny Anderson, Georgia Tech, all-star, Jersey Nets, but you're not better than the Bucks. Let's go, Giannis. Make sure he knows that. Bucks in 6. We're running this right now. Let's go. Let's go, Middleton. Let's go, Drew Holiday. That's a whole other conversation. I'll get excited about the Bucks. Welcome, Boogie Cousins. Welcome.
Well, we can definitely have. We'll take Big Bark Sports on the road and hit Fiserv. Go hit Deer District and do like that. I think that'd be a nice little.
That'd be a nice podcast there.
Yeah, nice pitch. And by the way, thank you for the intro. I have never once had a guest who pitched us. You put us up there with Huddle and YouTube and Big Bark. I mean, those are the 3 names that everyone has when it comes to media.
That's right. You got to speak it. You're doing some great work. And so, I always say it's an asset mindset, speaking to existence. The growth is coming, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, we're glad you took some time out of your day, because I know you're super busy. Let's talk about where you're at now, UW-Parkside. Tell us about, your role, how you're evolving, everything going on there.
Well, so thank you again. As I mentioned earlier, I serve as the Vice Chancellor for University Advancement and Alumni Relations here at the University of Wisconsin-Parkside, which is located, right in the heart between 2 communities, between Racine and Kenosha. So we're 25 minutes from downtown Milwaukee. We're about 50 minutes from downtown Chicago, right off of the I, in an amazing location. And, we're a little more than 50 years old. And one thing that's amazing about UW-Parkside is that it was founded for the community. and and so there were a lot of community members that had a lot of support to bring education into this community, because there were other schools in the UW system in other places. And so we definitely upholding the Wisconsin idea, which talks about education, and institutions of education need to be committed to using education to make an impact in the community. And so in my role here, I oversee all of the fundraising development efforts, work close with the foundation, alumni association, have operations, I have marketing, branding, creative services. We also have alumni affairs, special projects, community relations. It's a big job, right? There's a lot happening, but at the end of the day, my role is to find resources for students so they can not only attend the institution, be accepted to the institution, but graduate, right? And so one of our funds is the Future Focus Fund, and we were able to provide, almost $600,000 in scholarships to students last year in an emergency aid. And so in my role is to really make an impact and use my platform. So I'm often, heard saying I'm not a fundraiser, right? We weren't raised to ask for anything, right? We were raised to work and get it. That's how we were raised. So it's hard for me to ask for me, but when I'm advocating for the student, as I'm learning their stories and falling in love with their stories, it's easy for me to be an advocate. And we've just had some tremendous support from the community, really the community and our alumni across the country. And so, I'm really proud. We've had a lot of amazing things that have happened. I started here on May 1st in person, and we hit the ground running, been growing the team, adding new positions. But then also we've secured the second largest gift in school history. We secured a $3 million gift from the Callahan family, from Andy, Crystal, and Patsy, and created a program that not only provides, $45,000 scholarships with an emphasis of students of color from Kenosha County, but also provides them with a success coach, and also provides them resources for, we call them high impact practices. So that can be internships, that could be study abroad, right? And really having that true wraparound services for student success to get them to and through graduation. And so we're grateful to the Callahan family for making that commitment this year. And we've already have students involved, right? Because that's what it's about. I like to say, what if, right? What if all of the faculty and staff, and I'm not saying someone isn't or isn't doing it across the country, right? But what if everyone treated students like their jobs depended on it, like a coach, right? And there's some great examples of countless examples of, institutions that are doing this really well. And we're trying to model that. But, UW-Parkside, part of the UW system, we're about 4,500 students. We are the most diverse school in the system. So we have about 37% of our students are students of colors. We have pretty much every major that you want to major in here. We have, in the pre-health programs, 90+% of our students are accepted to med school or professional program. We have the #1 criminal justice program, but I'm gonna go back to that 90%. Like, that's a really big number, right? And so we have opportunities to research. 100% of our classes are taught by faculty. So you don't have to have a TA like I had in Minnesota when I'm sitting in a lecture hall of 500 people, right? You might see your professor, you might not. But that's just the nature of a research one. So with us being a regional comprehensive institution, you really have a personalized approach that you get to know your faculty members, you get to know your staff members, and we major in you, right? We major in you. We major in making sure you have the resources that you need to succeed and help you unlock and get ready for those careers. So we just recently had commencement, and we've literally been having back-to-back years of our largest graduating classes, which are exciting. But just a little bit about our graduates, right? Last year in the spring, our graduates averaged like a 3.28 GPA for the graduates. They were doing like 1,500 hours of, community service and internships. And so we produce some amazing individuals that go on to work for, American Express, work for, NASA, local companies, Snap-on, SC Johnson, Haribo, universities, Nexus Farm. We have graduates that are everywhere. And we're really proud of the product that we have. So we're just going to continue to we will no longer be a hidden secret. It's time for us to share our story with more people, because we serve 60% of our students are first generation. 60% of our students are first generation. And so we know they have grit, they have tenacity, they have a desire, and they want to make an impact. And so at UW-Parkside, we give students the opportunities to really grow because of our commitment to student success. And then we also have, a commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion. If you're accepted to our school, you should be valued, and you are valued, and you are embraced. And we're going to continue to just work and just be, we're trying to move for that number one spot, right? I'm competitive, that. So whether it's the institutions that I've attended, is a friendly competition because we're all serving, and we're fortunate to be a part of this great system, the UW system. And I just look forward to just doing my part, right? Partnerships, collaborations. Let's create programs, as Dan Heath would say, just thinking upstream. Like a lot of things we do react to stuff after it's always happening, but we want to spend time, being thought leaders and thinking upstream about what is the next thing that we need to do to support students so they can make the best ideas so we can improve our world. And so we love to say that the world needs more Parkside graduates.
There you go. I like that. So we're going to kind of wrap it up here a little bit. You want to talk about more sports?
Oh,
I think Willie's got some
so
stories.
Willie, here's what I'm going to tell you. Your story is not done, and we need to hear more of it, right? So we're gonna have another episode with Willie on here, whether we're down there, because I think that
love to have you here, please.
So I think that's our opportunity. So this isn't where this is where we end today, but this is not where we end our story, because you've got a lot more to talk about.
Yes, you do. So so we'll future date down at Parkside, and we'll do a walk and talk podcast, and you can give us a virtual tour of the campus and everything. How's that sound?
That would be amazing. We have some new spaces with our Callahan Family Student Success and Learning Commons library, but then also, speaking of athletics, it's called our Ranger Vision 2020. Andrew Gavin and his team have done an amazing job. Yes, we'd love to show you our indoor turf center, our new DeSimone Arena, indoor golf center. Yeah, I think we should do that. That'd be great.
You got turf and you ain't got no football team. What's up with that?
We don't have a football team, and I have asked the question, during my interview. So I'm not sure where we are with that, but we are Wisconsin's Division II athletics program.
Okay.
And so one fun thing, our soccer team won. We won the GLIAC conference, and we also had the Coach of the Year, Coach Zitsky, and then we had the National Division II Player of the Year, Rade Novakovic. I think I got it right. Yes, Rade, Division II National Player of the Year, and then Max Ludwig was also an All-American. So we got something brewing down here. Great basketball team. We're in season. Yeah, we need to have Big Bark Media, Drew, Nell, live at UW-Parkside, and I can promise you we won't disappoint you.
So you wanna give everybody your website that they can check out UW-Parkside?
Yes, so please feel free to visit us at www.uwp.edu, uwp.edu. We are the home of the Rangers. When we're here, we make green choices. Go Rangers.
Well, unfortunately, that's all we have for today. Willie, thank you again for taking time to talk to us. Gate down at UW-Parkside, so we can go down there and check out some of the good food. I hear they got good food in Kenosha.
Yes, I'm trying to lose weight now. I'm trying to lose weight. It's not helping me.
Yeah, that's my leg. So, love you, man. Keep doing great. Merry Christmas to you and the family. Give Joy and the kids a hug for me, and mom and dad as well. And
you do the same. Merry Christmas to you, the boys, Mandy, Mom, Drew, to you and your family. Be safe. It's a lot happening with this Omicron variant. So be safe as possible, and continue to love on the ones who love you.
Will do.
The University of Wisconsin-Parkside is committed to high-quality educational programs, creative and scholarly activities, and services responsive to its diverse student population and its local, national, and global communities. We are a dynamic leader in community grounded in academic excellence and focused on student success, diversity, inclusion, and community engagement. The campus serves as a premier comprehensive public institution and a destination of choice, serving as a focal point of local, regional, and global progress. Visit our beautiful campus, perfectly located between the Kenosha and Racine communities. Also visit our website at www.uwp.edu. Go Rangers! We'd like to thank our guest today, Willie Jude Jr., and obviously thank University of Wisconsin-Parkside.
Yep, thank you very much for joining us today. Here we go. Merry Christmas.
Well, this is going to, we're taping this a few days before Christmas, but this is going to be well after Christmas when you guys see it. But I hope you had a very Merry Christmas, very happy holidays, hope New Year. Good things in 2022. So, all right.
You take care.
Woof.